Barkley, move. 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 That was not staged. I was setting up my camera. Barkley loves chairs. She jumped up in my chair and she gave me a perfect opportunity to show you what it means to use pressure and release in dog training. I just put my physical body over the top of her. I kept telling her to move, move. This is my little get off me stick. So all my dogs know what move means. She had glued herself to this chair and she didn't really want to move. She knows what move means, but I just kept saying it and getting closer and closer to her, and then I leaned forward over the top of her and she could no longer take the what? Pressure. So she moved away to release the pressure, to take the pressure off of herself. I didn't have to touch her physically at all. So when you're thinking of pressure, this is going to be video 1 and I'm going to start really slow because I was with a group of ladies the other night talking about this for an hour, and they had never ever, and these are dog professionals, and they had never heard of it, and they were having a hard time grasping the concept. So I'm going to go really slow. Most people think of pressure dog training, force dog training, choking, prong collars, shock collars, gentle leaders, which are not gentle at all. They think of these things as forced dog training. And there are a lot of people in the world who think that the only way to train a dog is through a clicker and a treat or a treat. And they say there's absolutely no pressure involved in their dog training and no forcing. But if that was the truth, then they wouldn't need a leash and a collar. If you've got a collar and a leash on your dog, you're forcing it to do something because there's times when you're tugging and pulling on that leash or vice versa. So with pressure and release dog training, I'm applying the pressure, but the dog is seeking relief. I didn't give Barkley relief. She found it by getting up and moving. So I'm applying the pressure and the dog is finding the relief. Storm around here? Come here, Storm. I'm going to bring in my most annoying dog. Come here, Stormy. Stormy, come here. Come here. This dog loves to jump on me. He loves to jump on me. Now, I do have my get off me stick, so he might not do it. But this is a real simple way to start introducing a dog to the concept of pressure, because I think most people's dogs, when you sit in a chair, they want to jump up on you. And if you just simply put your foot on the leash, the dog cannot jump up on you and it cannot run away from you. See how he did a what? Default sit, right? Because he immediately knew I can't leave, I can't jump up, so I might as well just sit. I didn't ask him to sit, but this is a really good way to introduce yourself and your dog to pressure and release training. So he gave himself the release by just sitting and making the leash a little bit loose. But it's the way I have the leash is he can comfortably sit, stand, or lie down, but he cannot jump up on me. And if you have a dog that jumps up in your lap every single time you sit in a chair, if you'll do this and just let the dog, it's called self-correct. Every time the dog jumps up, it hits the leash. You don't say anything. Here's where people get in trouble. Sit, 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 stop it, stop it, stop it, sit, stop it, stop it, stop it, sit, stop it, stop it, stop it. See how that's making him anxious? See how he put his paw up? You just want to be quiet. Let the dog figure it out for yourself. Maybe watch a TV show that you like, you know, Beavis and Butthead. Just step on the leash. Let your dog jump and jump against the leash. Ignore the dog. Oh, people have such a hard time ignoring their dog. I have people come here and I'll say to them, ignore the dog. And what do? Stare at it. They stare at it and stare at it. When they're riding the horse, they're staring at the back of its head. Why do we do that? Because we're predators. Predators stare. So you want to keep your eyes off your dog. And you notice when I started talking to him, up came the paw. He became anxious. So now he's given me what I want, which is just sitting there being good. I'll quietly just praise him. Good boy. Now, I'm not going to pet him or put my hands on him if he's jumping, or they may really fight that leash because they've never felt that pressure. I mean, some dogs go absolutely ape. You know, they just start fighting the leash. Now, I'm telling you how I train dogs. I'm not telling you what to do because I don't know you, and I don't know what kind of dog you have, and I don't know the temperament of the dog that you have. Because some dogs can get very upset when they first get introduced to pressure and release. And so I'm not going to sit here and tell you what to do. I'm just sharing what I do. So now he's just sitting here. He's being very good. So I'm just going to praise him. Very nice. So that, to me, is a really good way to introduce the dog and the human to pressure and release dog training. Okay. So I want to talk to you about different types of pressure. So he's getting up because he wants my attention. I'm just going to ignore him. I actually videoed this morning. I got really lucky, and one of my border collies was doing what border collies do, and he was really running up and down the fence at the horses, and I said H-E-Y, and he ran. I mean, he left the country. So that was voice pressure. Now, you have to train them what H-E-Y means, but that was an example of voice pressure.
Good boy.
Last night, I've got another border collie that wants to constantly block my golf cart because she's got strong herding drive, but she doesn't know where to use it. She's not interested in sheep, but she's real interested in herding my golf cart. So she'll run and get in front of my golf cart. Well, I just keep rolling it towards her. Very slowly. I'm not going to run my dog over. But as she feels the pressure of the golf cart coming into her bubble, she gets up and moves, and then I give her a down command, which gives her an opportunity to do something right, and down she goes. And then I keep rolling, and then up she gets, and then off she goes. So that's physical pressure, like what I did to Barkley when she was in my chair. Now, here's the problem, though, is some people just absolutely let their dogs run their life and their household. And they think that setting any kind of boundaries or doing any kind of training is mean. So for those people, I say go back to the Click and Treat channel. This morning, oh my gosh, this morning, I go on YouTube because I'm always looking for ideas. And these people get millions of views. I don't know how they do it. Heck yeah, I'm jealous, but hopefully, maybe someday for me, right? But she's saying with a straight face, when you're out in the environment, you have to make sure that you have a treat that's strong enough to counter anything in the environment. Okay, that's the most ridiculous, ignorant thing I've ever heard in my life. And people go, okay, I'll cook some steak. And I'll take my dog out for a walk, and when it sees that squirrel, it's not going to jerk my arm out of the socket and go after that squirrel because I have a piece of steak. Where is the handler, the owner in that scenario? Nowhere. The handler owner has absolutely no respect from that dog. So if that's the way you want to train your dog, then please get off my channel and go watch one of these people, these charlatans, I will call them, because they really don't know how to train dogs, and they don't know how to train people to train dogs, and never on their channel will you ever see a finished dog. You'll never see them out with no treat. Oh, unless there's a shock collar on the dog. You know, a lot of these trainers go, oh, look at us, we're going through Lowe's. Yeah, well, there's a shock collar on the dog. So anyway, I digress. But if you actually want a trained dog, a lot of people don't want a trained dog, they just want to complain. If you want a trained dog, then this is number one in the series that I'm going to do on how I train my dogs. I'm not telling you how to train your dogs. Now you'll notice Storm here, he's one of the most annoying dogs I have. He wants to be up in your lap, kissing you, licking you, climbing on you, putting his paws all over you. So that's why I'm doing this exercise with him today. And I'm giving him attention for he gave me what I want, which is for him to just sit there and be minimally annoying. So, okay, we talked about voice pressure, and we talked about our physical presence pressure. When you're first introducing your dog to pressure and release that's been trained only with treats, you're probably going to use treats minimally just to help them with the transition. But I would, let's say, because I get people bring their dogs here for me to take care of them when they go on vacation, and I only do that for dogs that were born here. But they get training from me while they're here because I'm not putting up with rudeness, number one, and a lot of people ask for the training while the dog is here. So first of all, I'm just not going to let my dog take my space. I'm not going to let my dog just jump on me whenever it wants to. I'm going to have it on a leash in the house. Now, I don't care if your dog is 6 months old or 6 years old. If it's been running the household, and I'm going to let him off and see what he does. If it's been running the household, jumping on you, dragging you, come here, Storm. Okay, a little pressure release. Pressure release. Okay. All right. You're free. You're free. Let's see what he does. He knows I've got my get off me stick. Let's see. It's the world's most annoying dog. So I'm going to pick up my stick. Go on. So I told him to go away. Picked up my little get off me stick. Okay, so everybody's over there. When I sit in a chair, I don't feel like being climbed on by a bunch of muddy pawed dogs, and it's also very disrespectful for them. But what I'm saying is, if I get a new dog in here that doesn't know the rules, then right away, I'm going to start teaching it, don't get on me. If you're going to be in front of me, you need to be sitting. And I'm going to teach all that through pressure and release. So all I can say is, if the dog has never been exposed to it, you want to go slow and easy, doing simple exercises like, you might be surprised at how that dog flips out when you put a leash on it and step on the leash, and it'll pull and cry and carry on. And what you don't do is, oh, you'll be okay. You're going to be all right. Don't do that. I just sit here. I have had dogs melt down like you can't believe when I've done that to them. And I'm not doing anything to them. They're doing it to themselves. All I did was put the leash on them and put my foot on the leash and sit here and let them have their little fit, their little extinction burst. And then when they sit quietly, then they get noticed. That's a really good way to start for people and dogs in pressure and release training, so that you can get the idea that you are applying the pressure and the dog is releasing the pressure. You apply it, the dog releases it. Now, all kinds of animals can be trained this way. Cats, people say, oh, you can't train a cat. Well, if you get a squirt bottle and your cat gets on the kitchen counter and you squirt it with the water, then it jumps off the counter. Well, the water was the pressure, and the cat jumped off, which relieved the pressure. All animals can be trained with pressure and release. Somebody wrote in and said, can a primitive dog be trained with pressure and release? More probably so than a lot of domestic animals, because that's what everything that happens in nature is pressure and release. The release of pressure is how animals get through their day. So you have to wrap your mind around this kind of training and what it means. But a lot of it is an attitude too, because if your dog is running your household and running your show and telling you when to pet it and going over to the treat thing in the kitchen and barking at you to come give it a treat and barking at you because it's time to eat and barking at you because it's time to go to the bathroom, then for you to think that you're going to all of a sudden be the boss is 100% wrong. So it's really sort of a holistic approach to dog training, in that you have to change your mindset, stop being controlled by the dog, and treat training is 100% being controlled by the dog. The dog offers the behavior and you feed the behavior. It's just a type of begging. They sit for a treat, they down for it. It's just begging. It's begging. And when you take the treats away, the dog won't do a thing for you. So I've never seen a completely finished, completely no more treats dog at any of these trainers. I've never seen it happen. It doesn't happen. So this will be video 1 on pressure and release. Think about the different kinds of pressure. Your voice. Now that doesn't mean yelling and screaming, and it means never using the name. Spot! You never do that. Okay? I use HEY, and I train my dogs what that means, and I'll do that in another video. But think about your voice, think about your body posture, thinking about the demands. Every time you feel like your dog is putting a demand on you, flip the script, put a demand on that dog. When you're sitting in your chair, put it on the leash, put your foot on the leash. And again, I don't care if it's 6 months old or 6 years old, you've got to start somewhere. And that's where I'd like, if it was me, I'm not giving you advice, but that's where I would start and give the dog a concept of what it means to relieve itself of pressure. So, thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing, like, share. The channel's growing, and I really do appreciate that. All the money that it makes right now, which is not very much, all goes to our rescue horses. We get rescue feedlot gated horses in here. We rehabilitate them, train them, and find them appropriate homes. So that's really why I started this channel. So anyway, thanks for watching. Catch you next video.